My fiancé called off our wedding after my own family forged fake evidence to make him think I cheated. Now I've lost both him and my family in one blow, and I don't know who betrayed me more. I just found out that my fiancé secretly cancelled our wedding because my parents and my sister lied to him. They told him I had gone on a secret trip with my ex. And to make it worse, they even showed him fake proof. We've been together for a little over 6 years, engaged for 8 months. Our relationship was great, but wedding planning brought out a lot of family drama, especially with my sister. She has always been bossy, but once I got engaged, she wanted to take over everything: the venue, my dress, the colors, the guest list, even the playlist. When I pushed back and said my fiancé and I would make the big decisions, she didn't take it well. She became bitter and made passive-aggressive comments about me, the wedding, and even my fiancé. Fast forward to last week, my fiancé showed up pale and distant. He said he couldn't marry me. When I asked why, he told me he had seen things that proved I wasn't being honest about a weekend trip. Here's the truth: that weekend, I went to a cabin trip with friends, something planned months in advance. My sister knew about it. But what my fiancé saw was different. My family showed him screenshots of fake text messages between me and my ex, photos of me with a man who looked exactly like my ex. It was actually my friend's boyfriend, and even a fake Airbnb receipt under my name. It looked bad. It looked believable. To make it worse, my ex was a serious relationship from years ago. We almost got married, so my fiancé was already insecure about him. My parents and sister sat him down privately, told him they were worried for him, and painted me as a liar. My dad later admitted it outright, saying they were saving me from a mistake. My mom told me I should be grateful. And my sister? She's been smug ever since, like she finally won some twisted game. My fiancé told me he just couldn't ignore what he saw. Even when I swore it wasn't true, he shook his head and said he couldn't marry someone with that kind of doubt hanging over them. And the worst part is, I understand why he believed it. The lies were that convincing. But I've never cheated. I haven't even spoken to my ex in years. My friends know the truth. Still, my extended family probably thinks I ran away with my ex, because that's the story my parents and sister spread. Now, I feel like I lost both my partner and my family in the same moment. I don't even know if I want my fiancé back. Part of me feels betrayed that he didn't trust me enough. But more than anything, I want the truth out. I want people to know what my family did. I want to expose them for what they are. Because this wasn't just gossip. It was a deliberate attack on my relationship, and it worked. I'm torn between confronting my family publicly right now or gathering every possible piece of evidence to prove how they set me up. One thing is certain: I will not stay quiet. Yes, I'll cut contact with them eventually, but only after I've shown everyone what kind of garbage they really are. Calling them a family is being far too generous. The worst part? They justified it by saying they only wanted someone better for me. Fine, then I'll find someone better, while they end up far away, with their reputations destroyed. Update 1. If you didn't read my original post, my fiancé cancelled our wedding because my family told him I went on a secret trip with my ex. They didn't just say it, they gave him fake proof, photos, text messages, even an Airbnb booking under my name. I told him it was all fake, but because of his insecurities and the fact that my ex was once a serious relationship, it seemed believable. Like I said, I wasn't going to sit back and let them ruin me. So I started reaching out to the friends who were on that cabin trip with me. Luckily, I had witnesses. My friend who organized the trip confirmed everyone who was there, including her boyfriend, the guy in the photo my fiancé thought was my ex. He has the same haircut and build, so I understand why it looked convincing, but it wasn't him. I showed this to my fiancé, even pictures of my friend's boyfriend for comparison. He admitted, yeah, they look alike. But then he pointed out that it didn't explain everything else he saw. For example, the Airbnb reservation really was under my name. So I asked my friend for the original booking details, and I even contacted the host, who provided security camera footage showing us at a completely different property. I also gathered photos from the restaurants we visited, easy to match with their addresses online to prove where we actually were. Then came the text messages. Until recently, my fiancé refused to show them to me because he thought I already knew, since I was the one who supposedly sent them. But when I finally convinced him, I spotted something right away. The chat's profile picture was one I haven't used in years, back when I did still talk to my ex. That's when it hit me the screenshots were from an old conversation I had with my ex about planning a trip, years ago. The only thing that looked new were the dates, which could have easily been altered with basic software. And unfortunately, my sister, though an idiot in most ways, does know how to edit things. My fiancé also admitted that this wasn't the first time my sister had warned him about me. Apparently, she'd been planting seeds of doubt for months, saying I'd been distant, acting secretive, or distracted. I had no idea she was doing this behind my back. From his perspective, he'd been hearing this for months from my own sister, and then suddenly, he gets proof, confirming exactly what she'd been warning him about. I hate it, but I can see how that broke him. Still, what hurts the most is that instead of coming to me with his doubts early on, he bottled them up until everything piled together. By the time my family handed him their fabricated evidence, he was already primed to believe it. Now he says he wants to believe me, but he can't shake the feeling of betrayal the fake evidence caused. Hearing that stung. It feels like my word mattered less than doctored screenshots and staged photos. So for now, I'm keeping my distance, but I'm also gathering every piece of evidence I can. My friend and her boyfriend are willing to testify. I'm trying to dig up my old phone to recover the original chat logs and prove the screenshots were fake. If I can dismantle each part of their story, I'll prove my parents are nothing but master manipulators. The real question is, even if I clear my name completely, do I even want to fix things with my fiancé after this? Part of me is still furious that my fiancé sided with them so quickly, but another part can't ignore just how calculated this whole scheme was. Honestly, I think most people in his place would have believed it too. I don't think he acted out of malice, I think he acted out of fear and bad information. For now, I'm not making any final decisions. What I do know is that I won't let my family get away with this. If my relationship ends, it will be because my fiancé and I decide it, not because my sister gets a kick out of destroying relationships. Update 2. I went to see my sister again. I knew that if I pushed her in the right way, she'd slip up. She always has this smug superiority when she thinks she's gotten away with something. So I stayed calm, asked questions, and waited. It worked. I now have a 1.5-hour recording on my phone of her admitting everything. I'll trim it down to about 5 minutes. Nobody's going to sit through the full thing, but the important parts are there. On the recording, she laughed and bragged that she had saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. She even admitted there was already another guy lined up, the one she and my parents thought was more suitable for me. She wasn't even embarrassed, just proud of what she'd done. If she were in The Lion King, she'd be Scar but dumber. My dad is also Scar, and my mom, well, pick any evil queen and she fits. Yes, you read that right. They already had someone picked out for me. Someone they approved of more than my fiancé, or ex, if you prefer, though I haven't fully decided yet. After that, I called the friend who organized the cabin trip. I asked for every group photo she had from that weekend, especially ones with her boyfriend. She sent them right away. With those, I built a clear set of comparisons showing it was him in the photos, not my ex. Armed with all of this, the genuine photos, the proof that the messages were doctored, and the audio of my sister's confession, I went back to my fiancé. This wasn't just telling him my side. This was the test. His reaction would show me how the rest of the world might react when they saw the truth. After I showed him everything, he was horrified. He said he couldn't believe they would do that. He told me that when my parents first approached him, they didn't just hand over evidence. They spent hours convincing him, saying I'd been lying for months, that I was planning to run away with my ex, that they were only protecting him from marrying the wrong person. My sister backed it all up by saying she'd been worried about me for a long time, and this was the final straw. He told me he was sorry, that he should have trusted me, but that the setup was too convincing at the time. I told him an apology doesn't erase the fact that he cancelled our wedding without even talking to me first. I'm not speaking to my family. My parents are pretending not to know what I'm talking about, and my sister is acting like she doesn't care. I've blocked all of them. I don't want to hear their excuses. And once I hit post, they'll know exactly what I've done. That smug smile of hers will disappear. As for my fiancé, he says he wants to work things out. But honestly, I think I'm leaning toward ending this. If he had just talked to me first, I could have cleared this up easily. Instead, I had to conduct a full investigation to prove my innocence. That doesn't give me much confidence in building a marriage with him. Update 3. Meanwhile, my family has been running their mouths to anyone who will listen. Their story is inconsistent. On one hand, they say they caught me cheating. On the other, they claim they only wanted to pair me with someone better than my fiancé. Either way, they're busy painting me as the ungrateful, wayward daughter, which works perfectly for me. Why? Because while they're busy discrediting themselves with gossip, I have the real evidence, photos, messages, recordings. And once I drop it, the impact will be devastating. I wrote a short post to go with the evidence. Nothing dramatic, just. If you're bored and looking for something spicy, here's a little story about my parents and sister. That's all it took. The screenshots, the photos, and my sister's recorded confession explained everything. I didn't need to add much. The comments pouring in said it all. Your parents and sister are monsters. Within hours, no, within minutes my phone turned into a fireworks show of notifications. Comment after comment, and honestly, they were some of the best comments I've ever read in my life, because they were tearing my parents apart. And trust me, I once saw a friend expose her boyfriend for kissing his own mother on the lips. She posted it online, and that comment section went wild. But this was even better. Then I got a message from the mother of the guy my family was trying to set me up with. She was horrified that her son's name had been dragged into this mess. She told me she had no idea my family was using him as some kind of replacement fiancé, and that she would be cutting ties with them completely. Honestly, that was almost as satisfying as binge-watching the next season of Stranger Things. My sister's response? A pathetic counterattack. She started posting her own so-called evidence, trying to justify what she did. The problem is that her proof looks fake, and people aren't buying it. In fact, it's only making her look worse and giving me even more ammunition for a defamation case. Because let's be real, you don't cancel a wedding 1 month before the date and expect there to be no consequences. My parents called the next day, absolutely furious. Clearly, someone had shown them the posts. They demanded I take everything down and do what's best for me. I told them that when you scheme and lie the way they did, you don't get to be shocked at the fallout. My dad tried to frame it as them protecting me, insisting my fiancé wasn't right for me. And maybe he wasn't, but it was never their place to decide that. After that call, I blocked them. My sister too. Blocked so hard I hope she felt it physically. And I'm not done. I'm moving forward with legal action against my dad and sister. I want to sue them until they shake in their boots, until their teeth fall out, and then I'll string those teeth into a Hawaiian necklace and hang it around their necks as a reminder of how stupid they were to destroy our relationship and throw away so much money. The fallout hasn't just been legal or emotional, it's social. Some of our mutual friends have stopped inviting my sister to events, and my parents are starting to feel the same cold shoulder. My mom in particular thrives on social status, so this is hitting her hard. Meanwhile, my friends, the ones who were on the cabin trip, have been amazing. They not only vouched for me in the comments, but they've also been cracking jokes like, "Don't worry, if your parents and sister don't work out, we'll find you new ones." As for my fiancé, I've made my decision. It's over. Even if he was manipulated, I never gave him any real reason to doubt me. Yet he let my sister poison his mind for months and never once came to me about it. That's not someone I can marry. So yes, my parents got what they wanted, I won't be marrying him. But unlike what they planned, I won't be marrying their choice either, and I won't be in their lives at all. Update 4. I thought that after being exposed, my family would back down. Instead, they're acting like nothing happened. My parents still won't admit to anything. My sister keeps playing the victim. They think this will all blow over in a few weeks, but they're wrong, dead wrong. They're trying to downplay it, saying, "Don't believe everything you read online, things look worse than they are when taken out of context." And in a way, I agree with them, except the only context that matters now is the legal one. Because this is going to court. Our first hearing is coming up for defamation and financial damages for the ruined wedding and relationship. The only way this ends early is if they settle, but the figure my lawyer and I have in mind is high. If they don't meet it, we'll go to trial, and a judge will decide what's fair. Either way, I'm sleeping well at night knowing they can't contact me anymore. Harassment would only make the case worse for them. But the drama doesn't end here, it just moved on to them. I recently heard from a mutual friend that my sister is now engaged, and she's already causing chaos with her future in-laws. Apparently, she's driving them crazy. No idea how that wedding is still on. Maybe her fiancé really loves her, or maybe he's gone deaf, blind, and mute and just hasn't noticed. Last I saw him, he was fine, but it's been a while, so maybe he suffered a tragic accident. According to my friend, even his sister has already warned him that my sister's behavior is a huge red flag. It's not my business anymore, but I won't lie. I can't wait to see how that one blows up. If that family or her fiancé ever ask me what to do, I'd tell them the same thing: it's time to run away from my sister. As for my ex-fiancé, I still call him that since I never gave him a name at the start of this story. We finally had the talk. You know, the kind where you sit down and go over everything. My mind was already made up, but I wanted to have one last conversation. We discussed a lot of things, none of which really matter now, but at least he understood why I don't want to get back together after everything that happened. It was actually a pretty mature talk. I know he didn't take it too well. He clearly wanted to reconcile before all this, but at least he didn't pressure me into it. Hopefully that stays the case, and he doesn't show up months later thinking that giving me space will change my mind. I don't think that's how it'll go, but who knows. As for my family, I am giving them space, but only so they can sit with their lawyer and realize what they've done, because once this is over, I never want to see them again. I promised one last update once the lawsuit was settled. Update 5. It's been a while since you've heard from me, but I'm alive and finally ready to write this. Everything I'm about to share happened around 2 months ago, but life and excuses kept me away from Reddit. So here's what happened with my parents and sister. Biggest news first: my sister is no longer getting married. I think she managed to completely wear down her fiancé's family until he finally said enough. I had nothing to do with their breakup, but I know my story reached them, and maybe it played a part. Still, with how unbearable my sister is, I think all the credit goes to her alone. Now for the lawsuit. We reached a pretty lucrative settlement. We sued for a high amount, but my lawyer and I had already set a lower figure in mind that we considered perfectly acceptable. The higher claim was just leverage for negotiation. In the end, we got a very satisfying payout, which makes me happy financially. But the best part is one of the clauses in the settlement. It basically works like a restraining order for all 3 of them. If they ever speak publicly about me or try to contact me, I can sue again automatically, with preset penalties already written into the agreement. That means any new lawsuit would be much simpler, because it would just be a breach of contract. And that's what excites me most, because it means I don't ever have to hear a single word from them again. As for my ex, since many of you asked, no, he hasn't tried to come back into my life. I think he's handled it with maturity, and I'm honestly grateful for that.